here the presence of the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Kenya, the German Vice Chancellor, Federal Minister for Economic Affairs, and Nairobi today to be hosting this 5th German-Africa Business Summit. Some great breakout sessions that will be happening. We're having conversations on driving economies, building back better from the COVID-19, real action that will come out of the conversations that we shall have here today. For you to meet others like yourselves, meet new people.
People and its economy. Everybody talks about this, but it's now driven by a remarkable entrepreneurial spirit. And it is become a German-African partnership at this summit. On behalf of Safri,
conferences like this, especially if so many countries and people from countries are gathering. 35 states from Africa are represented here. 900 participants are here at this conference. We had to close the participant list yesterday because the interest was so overwhelming. This is a great success, I think, for the conference, for the idea behind the conference, but also for the ones who have organized everything, the flights, the hotels, the programs, the stage. So I'd like to give them a warm hand and a very big thank you for organizing this conference. Thank you very much. Real work, or the real idea of this conference, is business-to-business context. Get to know each other, speak to each other, exchange your views, ask your questions, and use the time among the sessions to get to know each other. This is why we're here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give you some figures. 9 of the 20 countries that have the fastest growing economies are coming from Africa. The German-Kenyan trade relation increased steadily over the last years. 930 German companies are in Africa and invested in Africa and employ over 230,000 people in Africa. These are good figures, but not so good that we could not do better. This investment, the German investment, is only 1% of German foreign investment, and the steady growth rate does not let us oversee that the potential for more is there.
I would like to once again thank you for your participation in the 5th edition of the German African Business Forum. Your commitment to deepening the business relationships between Germany and Africa is truly commendable. We look forward to the fruitful conversations, partnerships, and collaborations that will emerge from this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing is for free. Nothing comes free. Where do I come from in making this statement? We, as a continent, must move away from retrogressive legislation. If you want to be a shareholder in a company, whether it is local, whether it is a foreign investment, the correct door to use is to actually put your shares on the table, but not to try and become a shareholder through retrogressive pieces of legislation. I say so because I'll give you a few examples that Kenya has had to deal with in the last few months or in the last few years. One, we had a piece of legislation that said, if you want to invest in the ICT sector, a partner coming here or a company operating in Kenya, you shall not be licensed until you have a local partner who puts in, who gets 30% of the investment, not by paying. but by legislation. So, our president asked a very fundamental question. So Google is here. Can the Kenyan who has the capacity to buy 30% of Google stand up and show their face? Recently, there was a piece of legislation or regulation coming up from the maritime sector, which was saying that any logistic company or shipping company that is operating in Kenya, they will not be licensed for the next year unless they have ceded their a certain percentage of their shareholding to locals. Now, these are entities that have been operating in Kenya for the last 30 years, doing business. All our exports, avocado, flowers, these are the companies that ship your cargo to Europe, to the markets. They've been doing it for you. So if you don't license them because you want to try and benefit somebody outside the proper channels, then what happens to Kenya's exports? What about the raw materials we need for our industry? Who is going to bring them? The same goes for some of the engineering companies. In the energy sector, in the mining sector, we have to strike a proper balance between attracting capital and benefiting the Kenyans. We should not try, and I speak to Kenya as an example. I don't want to quote other countries, but I know their representatives are in this hall as African countries. Let us not have legislation that has become an obstacle to foreign direct investment in our countries. We need to partner in a more logical way and get investment. These young people we are talking about, the 60%, they need jobs, not tomorrow, but today. So we need to have some very positive action. And I hope through these conversations, we shall be able to overcome such challenges, such barriers, so that we can make the movement of capital much faster. And then we can unleash the potential of our young people across the board to be able to do businesses and grow. The African continent offers immense potential across key sectors such as agriculture, energy, infrastructure, technology, and manufacturing. But to harness this potential, we need the strong partnership that events like the German African Business Forum foster. The summit comes at a time when, as a country, we are celebrating 60 years of our diplomatic journey. At this period, we remember that Germany was the first country in the world to recognize Kenya as an independent country. The relationship between Germany and Kenya has grown significantly in recent years, with German companies actively investing in sectors such as renewable energy, automotive manufacturing, and infrastructure. We have seen firsthand the positive impact of such collaborations. This partnership has not only created jobs, but also contributed to the transfer of technology and knowledge, which are vital to Kenya's long-term economic development. Kenya is committed to its role as a gateway to East Africa and the broader African market. We are steadily advancing our Vision 2030, which seeks to transform Kenya into a newly industrializing middle-income economy. At the same time, Kenya is working closely with partners to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly those relating to clean energy, climate action, and inclusive economic growth. We view partnerships with German enterprises as a critical element for achieving these ambitions. The bilateral relations between Kenya and Germany also extend far beyond business. Our cooperation in areas such as labor migration, climate resilience, education, and healthcare reflects the depth and breadth of our relationship. Together, we have been able to address some of the world's most pressing challenges, and the German African Business Forum provides a platform to amplify these efforts and chart new paths for collaborative success. As we look ahead, the business community and governments have a unique opportunity to build a more inclusive, sustainable, and resilient future. Our parliaments sometimes want to be popular rather than pragmatic. Let us be pragmatic. What does capital need? Capital needs to know that the rule of law is okay. Capital needs to know that there'll be justice. Where there's an issue, there'll be quick and fair adjudication of disputes. That is what they want to know. But capital is not going to be waiting for or will not be attracted by legislation that is skewed in getting people off the ground. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I should be very frank on that particular note, so that as you look at Kenya, we are discarding such retrogressive positions. We want to partner with all our partners effectively, to do business effectively. And I know in the deliberations there'll be other issues, but it is so important. And I also want to say that sometimes if you don't blow your own trumpet, nobody will blow it for you. And I want to be able to speak to the German businessmen and women who are here to tell you that one of the things that Kenya really prides itself for is being very liberal, and indeed in the financial sector, Kenya is perhaps the most open financial economy that you can get on the African continent. You will never have a challenge in repatriating your profits when you have earned them. This is Kenya for you. In the whole East African region, Kenya's financial footprint is such that the financial systems in Nairobi have over 550 branches in the whole of the East African countries. So if you're looking for a financial center, Kenya is here. You understand why I'm blowing the trumpet. The youth of Africa, who represent over 60% of the continent's population, are eager to drive innovation, embrace new technologies, and shape a brighter future. The role of German businesses in supporting this transformation cannot be overstated. Together, we can unlock new markets, create new jobs, and build stronger economies, while ensuring that our growth benefits all people. This forum represents more than just discussions. It is a call to action. It is a reminder that Africa's potential will not be realized in isolation, but through strengthened partnerships. I encourage you all to engage actively, share your expertise, and explore new avenues for collaboration. Let us continue to work together to create lasting economic growth and development, not just for Kenya, but for the entire African continent.